Hi there and welcome to demonstration number 3. And remember, this is not tracing, this is drawing, checking and then correcting our work. Slightly different head angle to work with here, so let's go. Another head drawing, and I'm going to give myself an extra 5 minutes on this one because it's a bit of a challenging angle. And also just want to show you a little technique that you can use by using Artist Eye on your mobile. But less talking, more drawing. 15 minutes on the clock. Off we go. So start off with, and there's a much more pronounced oval with this drawing, and then with this head, rather, with this head angle, and then we've got the front of the face. But look, it's slightly angled as well, so we're looking sort of up at the chin here, which is quite challenging, which is why I've given myself an extra 5 minutes. Plus we've got hair to deal with here, whereas in the previous two there's not been a lot of hair for us to get into or to complicate matters. So although I'm starting with the sort of rough Loomis head, I think a lot of this has got to be by eye and sort of gauging it, a mix of knowledge and a mix of observation, which after all, that's what drawing is, isn't it? But you've always got to be thinking in terms of plane. So look how I'm doing a front plane for the face, which is kind of like that. And you've got the sort of ear back here. I'll clarify that later. And this is down there, and we can see the underside of the chin there, although it's been lost into the neck a little bit. Searching lines, trying to find it, trying to find where each of those features are. So now I'm looking through, I'm using my X-ray vision to try and look through to the underlying skull, or at least the features of the underlying skull that are prominent to the top layer that I'm seeing. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm not trying to draw the skull. I'm not being medical about it. What I'm trying to do is imagine what the skull would be like, but with a view to how does that help me draw this individual. I've said before, it's not a case of really trying to get the likeness. That takes a lot longer or a lot more skill than I possess. It's more about how can I get to practice my head drawings without being too precious over it, without beating myself up that, oh, it doesn't look like the subject. So then I can just practice, because likeness is a peculiar thing, and you have to almost rely on, I think it was Ingres who said, it relies on a slight amount of caricature. So I'm trying to get the big shapes in place, which is why I've not been doing the eyes. I'm looking at negative shapes, I'm looking at positive shapes. I'm pushing lines around, and of course the scale I'm drawing, even a slight amount can make a massive difference. I'm trying almost at this point to get the character of the head just as much as the underlying structure. Eyes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I know that chin sticks out, but I've done it far too much. That's brought it back a little bit. Good. Well, that feels human, which is good. So what I'm going to do now is, for the purposes of this, I'm just going to pause the timer. And what you can do, of course, is you can use Artist Eye on your iPhone or on your Android phone. So this is Artist Eye on my phone. There's my reference, there's my drawing. If I turn it sideways, you can see them side by side, and that allows me to see how close they are. And if I click this button, of course, it reverses it. So I can see it with a fresh pair of eyes, because seeing things in reverse makes you see things for the first time. And I can see that his chin is too low. Oh, sorry, not low enough, too shallow. I should have started the clock again, shouldn't I? Let's do that. Okay, the clock's ticking again.
10 minutes remaining.
Told you. So I've now got 10 minutes to correct this drawing. But more importantly, how does it look? Is the ear in the right place? No, the ear looks too high and needs to go back a little. And if I draw a line across it to the middle of the eye, so yes, that's correct. So it needs to go back a little bit as well. So let's do that. There is a lot to be said for getting an accurate sort of framework in place before you go any further. So I could have got to the end, and as you know, I do go to the end, and then I check my work. But what I've done here instead is I've done an amount of drawing, then I check my work. So now let's progress to the end. Let's get his hair in place. He's got quite high hair here. That's coming around to there. His back of the neck is coming from behind the ear. And this is dropping away, and then his other side of his neck is coming back from there. It feels just a little bit wide. I'll go with there. Okay, let's lighten our lines and get a little bit more definite and accurate. So I'll change my grip a little bit, I think. So really what I'm doing is I've kind of got the ghost image in place. And now I'm kind of clarifying where the features are. So this ghost line just feels like it needs to come out a little bit more, so let's push that line a little bit further out. Broken line for the hair. How is that mouth looking? So I didn't do much construction on the mouth. You know, I think that chin could probably be even further down. Now I've worked that through. So this is not really a finished drawing as such, it's practice. It's okay if we put more than one line in place.
5 minutes remaining.
Oh, 5 minutes. I think because I paused it to do that check, it actually meant I've got a little bit more time than I'm used to. If we finish early, great. Here, I find draw that flap first. That leads us to that shape. We then go up, back, and then round to there. Top of the ear comes in like that. Goes to the outside. Something like that. Difficult to see his actual jawline. Well, let's just indicate the back of the jaw there, and maybe across that way. Let's get the back of his hair. That feels like it should be just a fraction further in, and let's go more sketchy, so change the position of the pencil. And that is way too wide. Oh, that will do. It's just practice. Okay, let's stop our timer. And once again, now let's check our drawing. Let's reduce the size of our reference image. Let's set it to overlay mode, position it over our sketch. I was so right about that chin. There's nowhere near, but that's good. So let's freeze the camera and then position our image as best as we can. And in this instance, it's probably better if I just give him less hair. I've overdone the height of his hair. Just try and get it into the right position. Sometimes it just doesn't want to. There we go. That's close enough for what we want to do. Let's freeze the image, zoom in, and in its overlay sense, you can definitely see where mistakes are. So the ear is roughly in the right place, the eye is roughly in the right place, nose, mouth, da 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 da. The chin, like I was saying as I was drawing it, way off. Way off. Now he does have a large chin. We can use our reference lines to see where this line is. Also, not so much our reference lines, but the lines of where we drew. And so that is actually down there, which is massively out from where I had it. And the hair is beneath that line back to here. So you can just see this ghost line in place. And it just sits inside there. So I got it way off. In terms of caricature, probably way accurate. And maybe, as often happens, because my drawing was out in a caricaturist manner, by correcting it, it might even lose some of that likeness. But that's not the object of this exercise. The object of this exercise is to get it as accurate as you possibly can, so that then when you choose to caricature, you had the skills of knowing where the line should be, so you know where to push the line to. But if his main feature is a large chin, I definitely got that wrong. Right, let's toggle between the two and just see if there's anything that jumps out for us to correct. The nose a little bit. So this is, if you like, reinforcing the pain. That's what I like to call it. So I've done as best a drawing I can, and now I'm being super ultra picky about what I got right, but more importantly, what I got wrong. Because this is me correcting my work. So hopefully I will be more accurate for future drawings. But at the same time, it's not so much beating myself up, because as you can see, other than the hair and the chin, I got things very close. And certainly close enough for the purpose of this exercise. Great, so that's the corrections done. On to the next drawing.